use a pseudo. Oh, thanks, thanks, Jeff. So if you cannot install if you don't have the pseudo privilege, you cannot use some the command like sudo apt-get install or sudo yum install to install the program. But with virtual environment, you don't need the root access. You can install everything into your local directory, and every tool and their dependencies and the libraries will be stored in a single folder. And if you have multiple projects, then you can create multiple virtual environments with different software and different versions so that it can meet your specific requirements. And if you have a pipeline, if you build a lot of tools inside a virtual environment, you can also share this environment with your colleague who does, then your colleague don't need to create or build the pipeline by themselves again. And if you sometimes the software you need to install has lots of dependencies or libraries, with virtual environment, you don't need to install them one by one. You just install the program you need, and then the virtual environment tool such as Conda can help you to manage those dependencies. Okay, so in high performance computing, the easiest way to install a program is to ask the system admin to do that for you, but it takes like significant amount of time, and sometimes after the system update, the previously installed program will be broken, and if you won't be able to control the settings and configure the tools. You have to ask the system admin to do it for you. But with virtual environment, it will be, you can install the program by yourself. You don't need to wait. And if you want to adjust the settings or change something, it's easy. It's all up to you. You have the full control. And you can also control the versions to make your pipeline reproducible. And and once you learn how to install the program, it's kind of a valuable experience for your future career. Okay, so is there any question? Looks good so far. Okay, so in this workshop we talked about virtual env yesterday, and today we will focus on Conda. You can see that with virtual env you can only install Python packages, but with Conda you can install almost everything as long as you can find it in the Conda repository space. So the comparing with virtual env, as I said, you can install R, Ruby, C, or C++ in Conda, and also Conda can help you to manage those packages and dependencies in a very smart way. It will check whether the current packages inside this environment can be compatible with your new tool, which you want to install. And in a Conda environment, you can use pip as well to install Python packages, but we recommend people to use Conda install if possible. And Conda doesn't rely on the Python build in the system, and is totally separated from it. So to use Conda environment, please make sure you unload all of the modules, like Python related modules or R related modules if you are using R. However, with lots of advantages, Conda has its own disadvantages. For example, it will generate a huge amount of small files in each environment, because different environments are separated from each other. So if you build a new environment, then you will generate a lot of files in this new folder as well. So if you have lots of environments built, then you will have lots of small files that could be harmful to the file system. So we recommend people to archive those old environments if you don't need them. So there are some key terms for Conda. The first is the package. It doesn't have to be Python package. It could be a software, a library, or some Python package or R packages. So anything you install in Conda is called a Conda package. And the second one is called channel. The channel is like a repository space, a link that you grab the package from. So for example, there's a Conda channel, which is for bioinformatics tools or bioinformatics packages. There are some other channels that you may be specific to your area, but what you need to know is that try to get those channel information. So sometimes you need to go to the specific channel to install the tool, but in most of the cases, you can just Google the command name and the tool name, and also the you can just Google the tool name. It will show you which channel you should go to. And the third term is environment. It's basically a folder. You just put everything into this folder. Once this folder is activated, you are you're kind of entering this environment. And so if you want to clean the environment, it's very simple. You can just delete the folder or use the Conda command to remove everything. So unfortunately, Conda can only be used in Sockeye for now. It cannot be used in Compute Canada or the Alliance cluster, such as Cedar or Graham. That's because it generates lots of small files. So the system admin won't like it. And if you want to install, first we need to install the Conda, this Conda tool, or you can use the Conda 3 loaded, installed in the system. But I will show you how to install in your old directory, because this is you will have the full control. You will also have the latest version of Conda. The Conda 3 installed in Sockeye system is kind of old. Sometimes it can cause trouble. But if you want to use it, if we have time, I can show you how to load it. Okay, so if you want to use Conda in Compute Canada or the Alliance cluster, the only way I know so far is to build Conda in an apptainer container and convert it to a container image file. That's a single file. It has everything inside. That's how you can avoid generating lots of small files, but still be able to use Conda in Cedar or Graham. We will not touch this today, but in the next month, we will have another workshop talking about apptainer container. We will cover this this content in the next workshop. Okay, so I'm going to open my terminal. And the first thing I need to do is to connect to Sockeye. Do authentication. Yeah, make the font a little big. So now I'm in Sockeye, I'm in my home directory. What I need to do is first maybe create a folder called downloads. And then I'm in this, my home directory download folder, because we are going to download the installation package of Conda. We don't need to install everything, like the big installation package of Conda. We just need to install mini Conda, which has the all of the essential part. The file is much smaller, and we just need it because if you need some tools, you can use mini Conda to install them. So what we need to do is first open a browser and go to Google and search mini Conda 3. So the first link will have the installation package. So for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, because Sockeye is running Linux, so that's what we need. And right click and copy link, and go back to the terminal and use wget and paste. It's pretty quick because it's it's not big. Now we have a new file, mini Conda 3 latest Linux .sh. So to install it, we just need to run bash and enter. Ask me to press enter and then accept the license terms, type yes. And now it asks, it says mini Conda 3 will be installed into this location. You can see it's my home directory. We recommend people to change this directory to your project space, because in project space, first you have a bigger space. It's 5 terabytes. And in your home directory, you only have 50 G. And second, in the project space is shared by your group, your team members. So everyone in your team can use the tools you built there. So you don't need to ask them to do it again. So the project space. So if you don't remember, you can just open another terminal and copy the file path. It's a mini Conda 3. Okay. So now it starts to install the Python the Conda tool into my project space. It should be okay. So I list all of the steps here in the slide. First wget and then install it in project space. And you can see it's actually pretty quick because we are installing the mini Conda version. So the mini Conda 3, you can see that we download the mini Conda 3. The number 3 here means Python 3, because Conda is written in Python. So there's another version called mini Conda 2. If you want to use Python 2.7, for example, you probably need mini Conda 2 to manage the environment. Okay. You wish, yes. Okay, so now after this, we can run. You can see if I want to run Conda and says Conda command not found. That's because we haven't started Conda. What we need to do is to run dot or source tilde dot bash rc. Okay, after this command, you can see I have base in brackets before in front of my CWL. That indicates I'm in a Conda environment and it's in the base environment. So like the root directory, like the root environment. And if I do Conda info now, it will show all of the details. Like the active environment is base, the location is here, and all of the settings like the channels, the platform. So you don't need to pay too much attention on this. I just show you that I just want to show you that we need to run this source tilde slash dot bash rc to start Conda. Or you can simply just relog in, because this file tilde slash dot bash rc will be ran every time you log into Sockeye. So you just need to close the window and then reconnect to Sockeye or run this command. Okay, now we just installed Conda and activated the base environment. So to install the tool, or you first need to build a new environment. Now we are in the base environment. That's the root directory of mini Conda tool. We highly recommend people to install everything. Like, don't touch this base environment. Try to build a new environment and install everything in the new environments. That's because if you install multiple tools, then the dependencies will be conflict with each other. Then if you only have the base environment, then you don't have, you cannot separate these tools. So to better manage your environments, we recommend people to first create a new environment every time you want to start a new project. Okay, so to create a new environment, you can run Conda create -n, which indicates the name, and you can give it a name, for example, my env1. Okay. So it tells you that environment location is located here. And you want to proceed? Yes. Okay, so if we go to this place and show the list, you can see we have a new folder just created a minute ago. And now in this folder, it's only 112K. It's almost empty because we haven't installed anything in this folder or in this environment. Okay, so to install the tool, we first need to activate my env1. You can see that this base has been changed to my underscore env1. So the my env1 is the name you just give it. You give it when you created this environment. So you may say that, oh, if I have lots of environment, I forget the names. Then how do I find the names? It's pretty easy. I can just do conda env list. And it shows you the base environment is located here. Sorry. Yeah, the base environment is located here. The my env is located here, and you can see a star here. That means I'm now inside this environment. Or you can just go to your Conda directory. So find where your Conda locates. And there is a folder, envs, and then you can find this, the name. The folder name is the environment name. So if I enter my env and then type pwd, so I got the full path. So to activate this environment, you can do conda activate my env1. This is what I did. But you can also change the name with the full path. And if you press enter, then I'm still in this environment. Okay, so now I'm inside the environment, and what we need what we need to do to install a program is just to run conda install -c channel and followed by the package name, for example, NumPy. But how can I get the channel? It's also very simple. Just open the browser and go to Google. And if I want to install NumPy, for example, and type conda, then the first link, click the first link and scroll down. There's a command here to install this package. Run one of the following. There's only one, so just copy this one and go back to here and paste it. Then it's done. It starts to collect the package metadata and try to check the environment, and it tells you, oh, we need to download these packages. So you can see it has NumPy 1.23.5, and it also has Python, because to run NumPy you need Python, right? In the current environment we have nothing here, so we first need to install Python. So that's and then you just need to type yes, and it starts to download. So Conda is pretty smart. It can check what dependencies are needed. If it doesn't need, it will tell you that we need these dependencies. and this is the list, and please check and agree. So you don't need to manually check what dependencies you need to install the tool. Okay. The downloading should be very fast. Okay, let me go back to my slide. Okay, you can also specific version. For example, here Conda install -c Anaconda channel, and numpy equals to 1.22 or 1.21. You can also specify the version here. If you want to use an old version. If you don't specify the version, then it will try to get the latest version in that channel for you. Okay, so it's pretty, yeah, it's almost done. Let's wait a few seconds here. So now you can see we have lots of packages installed. We just install numpy and try to get everything for every dependency for me. If I want to install another tool in the same environment, Conda will go through all of these packages to check whether it's compatible with the new tool. If it's not compatible, it will try to find the version that is compatible to both numpy and the new tool. So it's pretty smart. You don't need, it's almost a one-click thing. You don't need to do any manual work. Okay, so now it's done. And if we run, we can check Conda list. We can check the installed packages with Conda list. So it should give me a list that I installed in this environment. It has the name and also the version. So go back to the channels. If I run conda config -- show channel, it lists the default channels I have set in my Conda. So you can see it doesn't have anything, it just has the defaults. I bring this because sometimes if you run Conda install without channel, for example, BWA, it will tell you that it failed because in this channel, in the default channel, there is no such tool called BWA. So you can see package not found error. The following packages are not available from the current channels. So what we need to do is either go to Google and search Conda BWA to get the channel we want. So for example, here, -c indicates the channel is BioConda, or we add the channel into this channel list. What we recommend people to do is to add the channel called Conda Forge. So into the list. Okay, now if we do conda config -- show channel, you can see Conda Forge is listed here. And if we run conda install numpy again without channels, you can it will try to find NumPy in Conda Forge instead of the previous one. So we run this command to install NumPy a few minutes ago. The channel we specified here is Anaconda, but if we run Conda install NumPy, it will try to look for NumPy in Conda Forge, because that's our default channel. Let's see. So now we have a new okay, it updates some, it doesn't update NumPy, it updates two dependencies. Sometimes you will find, we recommend people to add this Conda Forge because it has the most recent dependencies. Sometimes if you run Conda install -c Anaconda blah blah, it will say that the environment, the dependencies have conflict. It cannot be installed. But with Conda Forge in your default channel list, it will try to find more recent dependencies in this channel, so that Conda can find the dependencies that are compatible with multiple tools. So, okay, so now to run your job in Sockeye, what you need to do is specify the wall time, select the node, choose how many CPUs and memory. But in the under this, first you need to do this source ~/.bashrc to start your Conda, and then run Conda, activate your Conda environment. Then you put your command here, for example, Python blah blah or R blah blah. After that, do Conda deactivate to deactivate the Conda environment. The last step is optional. You can delete that, but the first three, you have to include all of them. Otherwise, if you don't have the first one, then it will report that Conda is no such command Conda. If you don't include the second one, then your package won't be able to find, for example, the R package, the Python package, because everything is inside the Conda environment. It's not in the base environment. And the last command is the most important. It has your Python code or it has your R code. Okay. And I showed some of the commands before, but I want to emphasize again. The Conda list can help you to list all of the packages in the current environment, and Conda env list will show you how all of the environments you have created. Some may have names, some may not. It doesn't matter because you can activate with both the names and the file path. If you want to uninstall something, just run uninstall the package name. And if you want to remove the environment, you can run this. This is highly recommended because if this environment is no longer you don't need this environment anymore, then we recommend people to delete them to reduce the file numbers, because too many files can slow down the system. Okay, so but before you delete them, you may want to say, I want to archive this environment. To do that, we recommend people to run this. You can run this command, conda env export, and write it into, for example, my env1.yaml file. And cat. So you can see it lists all of the channels, the dependencies, the versions, and the builds. So next time, and also it has this prefix. So next time you just need to run conda env create this file to create a new environment. So you can actually add it if you, for example, want to make a new name of this environment. You can change the prefix and edit the name like env2 to revise the file path or the environment name. Okay, so there are some tips for or common issues when you use Conda. The first tip is to do not install Conda environments in Scratch space, because you have a file number limit in Scratch, which is 1 million file. As I said, Conda will create a lot of files in each environment. So if you build the Conda environment in Scratch space, then your quota will be quickly eaten. You will eat the file number limit. And the second one is to try not to install Conda environment in your batch job, because in a batch job, the compute node is not doesn't have the internet connection. So it can not grab anything from the Conda channels or repository space. The installation will fail. And the third tip is to keep an eye on the time when the package was updated. For example, if I go to search Conda bioconductor, which is a very commonly used tool, and you can see it's 4 years. The last update is 4 years and 3 months ago, so it's too old. You may not want to use this old version. You may want to use the more recent versions or latest version. So sometimes the author doesn't update these tools. So please check when it's last uploaded. Okay. And the fourth tip is do not set up the environment variable Python $Python path. If you don't know what this is, then just forget about it. If you are familiar with this environment variable, when you use Conda, don't do that, because in Conda, every path is written into the file. If you can check echo Python path, and it should be empty. If it's not empty, it will try to find everything like Python package into through this path. Then all of the file paths in the Conda environments will be broken. So you won't be able to install or uninstall the Conda packages. And the last thing, again, archive or remove the old environment you don't need. It's very important. Okay, so there are some commands that you can run in Conda environment, like pip install. or install packages in R, for example, but you cannot use apt-get or sudo make install because they need sudo privilege. And there are some common issues like, for example, if you load module load GCC module load miniconda 3, and if for example here, if I run python-c import numpy, and it looks good, but if I load miniconda 3 and it's still it's the miniconda 3 is installed in the system, if I run this again, it says, oh, there's no module named numpy. You may think, oh, maybe because I need to activate this environment again. So you run activate my env1. But still, it's not. It cannot find the module numpy. And if I check whether numpy is installed, and I can see that, oh, it's installed here, but why? That's the reason is because if you check Python, it's actually using the Python installed in the system. That's because when you load miniconda 3 or some other packages, it's sometimes it's bundled with Python, and when you load it, the module load will have the highest priority. It will always try to use the module, the Python built in the module, instead of the Python is installed in your Conda environment. So you have what you need to do is to unload miniconda 3 and then from which Python again. Now you can see I'm using the Python I installed in the environment. So when you, the suggestion is that when you use Conda, don't load anything from the system. If you want to use, for example, do some machine learning work, I need CUDA, I need TensorFlow. The system doesn't have TensorFlow, so I install TensorFlow in my Conda environment. But the system has a CUDA installed, so I do module load CUDA. Then it probably will cause some issue because the module load will load something that masks the package you installed in the Conda environment. What you should do is just forget about module load. Try to install everything into Conda environment and just use everything there. Regardless whether system has the tool installed for you, just try to install everything from there. Another very common error you may see when you use Conda to install some R package is there's GCC fatal error, cannot execute CC1 or CC1 plus, no such file or directory. For example, when you install this, that's because in default, when you log into Sockeye, this file cat .bash rc, this file is automatically executed. And you may want to check your file as well. It probably has this line, module load GCC. So again, if you are using Conda, don't try not load anything from system. So what we need to do is do module unload GCC. So because you loaded the GCC installed in the system, it tries to use the compiler in the system. That's why it says cannot execute CC1, no such file. The same thing, same thing with the NumPy's arrow. There's a not very common issue, but sometimes it could be very annoying, is that when you try to install a program, it's hanging there in solving environment forever. That's not our fault. That's not Sockeye's fault. It's just sometimes this version in that channel is broken. You may want to try another version. For example, 1.5.0 is broken, and you may want to try another version. This 1.4.0 works well. So if you see solving environment is hanging there and it doesn't proceed, then just kill the installation and then try another version. Okay, so that's all for today. We have 9 minutes left. Is there any question? You can post the question in either chat box or Q&A session, or you can unmute yourself. Okay, looks everyone is good. Okay, so if there's no question, I think we can finish the workshop today. But if you have any question when you use Sockeye or use Conda, please feel free to reach out to us at arc.ubc.ca. And I hope everyone has a good afternoon. It's pretty sunny today, right? Yes. Please enjoy your afternoon and the rest of the week. Thank you.